You see, you must realize that you cannot have a three-dimensional universe without the expansion of three sets of T1 through T2 at the Big Bang, X, Y, and Z, height, length, via expansion of time. The emergence of spatial dimensions at the Big Bang created a necessary space area, space itself, in order to possess a physical structure universe. The Big Bang created the first spatial dimensions of X equals length, Y equals height, depth, and Z equals width. This creates our physical universe. So you cannot have a universe existing without the presence of motion. Via expansion of the Big Bang, the most important question is, what existed before the Big Bang? Was there a non-dimensional state via absent of a dimensional beginning, absent of a dimensional end, absent of time, an eternal state? If so, is it material or is it immaterial? Before the Big Bang, you cannot have mass nor dimensional states, considering that the Big Bang was the cause which created dimensions, therefore mass. So we have to find out about zero velocity, if it can exist prior to the Big Bang. What is zero velocity, you may ask? It's a state which allows motion to occur while returning to the same position. So it's not a linear length, but rather it could be a twitch or even a vibration instead. Yet this zero velocity involves motion. Zero velocity still requires a dimensional grid existing prior to it, since it cannot move forward and then move backwards into its original position without the existence of a dimensional grid already being present. Therefore, that which requires something dimensional proves that zero velocity did not arise from a zero state of nothingness. Rather, it is the result of something dimensional, a dimensional grid already present via after the Big Bang. Virtual particles via quantum fluctuations. Could they pop into existence from a state of nothingness? What allows quantum fluctuations to occur? Quantum fluctuations causes the illusion of virtual particles arising from a state of nothingness. Quantum fluctuations cannot occur until the emergence of the expanded force, which creates the positive charged particles via forward thrust, and without gravity, which cannot exist without the presence of dimensional objects, since gravity is the force in between two objects and also requires the two-dimensional wave, the geometric plane of the wave, which moves above the 0 point via expansion force and under the zero-dimensional grid in order to create via gravitational pull in order to create the negative charge particles. Once the two-dimensional wave is affected by the two forces fighting against each other, gravity and expansion force, this two-dimensional wave then creates a neutral 0 point via a cancellation process occurring between the positive particle versus the negative charged particle. This creates the illusion of an everlasting conservation of energy state. This is simply a subatomic chicken and the egg fluctuating cancelling process. This cannot occur without first having a three-dimensional state, gravity, which requires mass, expansion force, which requires the Big Bang, along with a two-dimensional wave, which cannot exist until after dimensions are created, after, not before, after the Big Bang. Now, can energy and matter exist without instructional information? Can they exist without projecting information about their presence? Can they exist without projecting information about their trajectory movement? Can they communicate? Waves and particles communicate, after all, in pairs via a negative and a positive charge, via clockwise and counterclockwise motion, up and down spin. Particles and waves require information in order to project their existence. Why do particle physical states require information, non-dimensional, in fact, information, in order to exist? Why is that? Why are particles programmed to communicate by using information in order to move, thereby creating energy? Within our bodies, we possess the presence of atoms, molecules, which break down into particles. They exist inside of us, the origins of life, and also within the origins of the universe. So, within the origins of the universe, you have three entities that coexist within the state. The state begins with energy, matter, and information. These three things cannot exist without one another. Yet, there is only one of these that isn't dimensional. Which one is it? Can you figure that out? Now, let's see if we can separate any of these three to find out if something can exist by itself without the others. Energy is two-dimensional, a geometric plane. Mass is three-dimensional, and information is non-dimensional. Can two-dimensional energy exist before the Big Bang, which created the physical presence of dimensions? No. Can three-dimensional mass exist before the Big Bang, which created the physical presence of dimensions? No. Can information exist before the Big Bang, which created the physical presence of dimensions? Yes. Information does not become mass. Information is not a physical object. Information does not require a physical medium in order to exist. Information can exist between an encoder and decoder, but information being sent is not a physical object. You can have information within a non-physical state. Quantum information theory recognizes the presence of information within the subatomic level. The act of existence requires information present in order to acknowledge the presence of physical states. People use communication systems in order to transfer information between two physical states. However, that being transferred carries non-physical intent. Can you have information without mass? Yes. Information is not a physical object. It's not mass. Can information exist without gravity, volume, density, electromagnetic force, black holes, vacuum, or dimensions? Yes. The physical presence and actions of states projects information about their physical presence. Intent projects the non-physical presence of information, and information projects the presence of reality. Quantum information theory shows that we are not simply deduced into atoms, but rather atoms break down into bits of information.